items on the agenda. Todd Madison and Brad Tobias.
All right, thank you very much. So it's great to see all the wonderful teachers here tonight. I wish they had stayed. They did a wonderful job of teaching my kids. I'd like to thank them. But anyway, thanks also to the board for graciously allowing the plebeians in the audience to speak to you. You know how difficult it is for you to hear this significant and repetitive invective voice ad infinitum. We'll strive to be worth your time and be allowed to kiss your ring at some point. Meanwhile, we'll continue to provide you with our children, along with all the money in your paychecks. So I love the big crowd, but I guess they're gone. So I missed the last meeting, so I'll refer to the minutes for a second. I'm glad to see Eleanor thank KOCT for their work broadcasting these meetings in the past, but of course their absence is noticeable now. We know why, of course. It's great to see the long list of people who participated in speaking at that meeting. Thanks to Anne for documenting that. Apparently the attempts to stifle parents have not been totally successful. I'm sure we can look forward to more authoritarian attempts ahead. I see we have a discussion of disposal of instructional materials on the agenda. I can't say I know what benchmark consumables are, but given the recently released SBAC results that show barely 40% of our kids proficient in English and a miserable 29% proficient in math, I assume we're getting rid of some things related to old-fashioned academic instruction since we don't use them. I'm glad to see OUSD has been awarded a DODIA grant to support CTE programs. Not only are CTE programs something we should all support, but of course having a grant will also help us cover giving millions of dollars to employees and bonus raises. Continuing on, I see we're applying for continued funding for the preschool program. Another excellent use of education funding. I'm sure that will allow us to cover up the fact that we're taking other funding from 4 or 5-year-olds to give to adults. Ditto for fundraising. I can't imagine how we live without it, given the district has historically prioritized more money for adults over funding to help teachers keep their classrooms supplied or fund special activities in schools. We, of course, know what the priorities are, as we just heard. Glad to see farther down we're going to be updating our non-discrimination policy. Sounds good to me, but I'm missing something. I don't see anything in this policy preventing the district from discriminating against parents in this meeting, which they obviously do, given the fact that we just saw a 5-minute presentation with slides from the labor group, but of course parents are not allowed to do that, are they? So it looks like Mike got his wish. He and the rest of the board no longer have to listen to nearly as much significant, repetitive, invective voice ad infinitum do you. Thanks.
Good evening, board. Just for a minute, I'm here for a while, so I'm glad to be back here. It was nice to do that to recognize the golf team from OHS. OHS is a school near my heart, and that's awesome. For the owner report, the schools, all those schools, all the schools represented. It would have been nice to see Reynolds there. I'll just keep that comment to myself. And the main thing I'm talking to you about is the approval, it's item B, approval of conference attendance for NSBA and conference, coast-to-coast conference. I would recommend if that needs to be attended, if those conferences and events need to be attended, maybe instead of sending the superintendent and 2, just send the superintendent and 1, or just send the superintendent or send 1 board member to cut down on the cost. I just did a rough lookup or a rough search, and the registration cost alone, not including hotels, flights, per diem, all that other stuff, the registration fee themselves could be enough to cover us getting KOCT back here to record these sessions, to record these meetings so that we can see them. I've been waiting for the last 4 months and I haven't been able to watch it. It's disturbing. I want to keep up with what's going on in this board, with what's going on in the brass here in Oceanside Unified School District. It's important to me because my kids are here. And I have 3 souls that I'm invested in at your schools. just like all you have, or just, I know some of you have schools, or students in these schools. It's imperative that that information be put out there to the public. Right now, the public is blinded because you guys are allowing this not to happen. So please consider this. Consider cutting down the cost. Consider opening up KOCT to come open those doors so KOCT can come to these. It's imperative. It's important. And it sounds like you have a bunch of mad teachers. Well, you also have a bunch of mad parents. So if the teachers and the parents are being mad at you, it doesn't sound like you guys are making the right decisions. Thank you.
We have 7 speakers. Our first 3 will be Willie Buchanan, Michael Mitchell, and Emily Richmond.
Good evening. My name is Willie Buchanan, and I would like to thank Oceanside Unified School District for their community bond programs, which afforded us to get some new facilities here around in our community. So that I am very thankful for. I worked in Oceanside School District for over 4 years, and currently I am a coach at Oceanside High School. I have pride in the things that I see at Oceanside High School, and I am one of 4 generations of Buchanans that have attended Oceanside High School. My mom was the first black to graduate from Oceanside High School. My father, the Reverend Mance Buchanan, who's this park to the right of us is named after, was worked for the Oceanside School District as a janitor and a bus driver. He and the things that he's done and seen and set forth in my life gets me to do the things that I do now. We have recently just redid a football stadium and track, and I'm really concerned about the quality of work that was done at the center. One of the things I look for, and I've seen this football stadium develop. When I was in my before my teens, my father used to go up to the high school. He set the flags out for Oceanside football games, so I know what the field looks like. And I take pride in the field that we have. When we had our field and stadium redone, there are a lot of things that were done, and most of the things weren't finished. When they told me that the product was finished, I told them they need to come back up and see the things that they need to see, because we cannot let the contractors off on doing shoddy work. And believe me, it's shoddy work that's being done up there. I feel sorry for El Camino, who's so far behind what we are right now as far as finishing our stadium. So one of the things that we need to look at is the people that come up from the district that works for you guys to make sure that they do the job that they're supposed to be doing. Because one of the things that we had up there is the head coach, track coach, and myself, we went around the stadium, looked at all the flaws in the stadium and in the track. And as you can see, and I don't know if you know this, but the logo in the middle of the football field is off. The lines on some of the track things are off. The colors of the track are off. So those are the things that I'm looking at to see if we can have somebody come up and correct.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. Good evening, cabinet. I'm Michael Mitchell. I have one child that's in 6th grade here at Chavez Middle School and another that's in 5th grade at Fusan Elementary School. The reason I'm up here tonight is that I want to sound an alarm about instruction and curriculum. I've talked with various staff, with the cabinet, and I'm not happy. I'm at the point now where trying to decide, if I want to keep kids in the district or just pull them out altogether. And what it's coming down to is the mathematics. And what the trend that what I recognize with my two kids is that when the oldest was in 5th grade, nothing came home. There was no reinforcement of topics or ideas or concepts when it came to mathematics or anything that came home for homework. So it came to the end of the year, and there was a whole, were at Reynolds, they were consolidated to Fusan, and a whole host of issues popped up. And so one of the other issues that popped up is that my oldest scored low on her state testing. And so they put her into the math intervention here at Chavez. And I was excited about it because I thought this would be an opportunity for her to catch up and to have extra guided attention. Sat down with the principal, and I told her my concerns about her being the interventionist is that the two math, the core math and the intervention math, are incongruent. They don't go together. And so essentially what she's doing is 2 math classes at one time for a 6th grader, where she's brand new to school, brand new to middle school, and she's trying to adhere to all these topics thrown at her all at one time. And I've been asking, for the intervention, there's no book, there's no textbook, it's just notes that come home. And so you ask, and it's like, oh, there's YouTube videos, there's things that don't come home, but it's like and I know there's a new math adoption, but there isn't really an integrated ecosystem to help our students out. And one of the things that, if you notice, I know that the metrics for our school district is our brown and black students are doing poorly in mathematics. And this is the point where in middle school and in 5th grade, where they're not getting the support, and there's incongruent and inconsistencies where they're not being supported, and the parents are being supported at home, where they're falling off the track. Another point, too, is that in tandem with this, is that the computers that our students use, they cannot be used at the public system for oversight of public library. I know I'm out of time, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. Thank you. I just passed out the 21, 22, and 22, 23 smart or balanced test results. And I'd like to highlight 4 of the 23 schools who increased the English language arts, and the math results. Oceanside High School, English was 2.33%, math was 3.96%. Laurel, little old Laurel, they increased 3.65% and in English and 2.25% in math. McCullough, they increased 9.01% and 8.75% in math. Santa Margarita, 2.09% and 3.82%. I'd like to thank those teachers who have already left and their staff who supported them for such great scores in both English language arts and math. There's also many disappointing decreases. I know there are many factors involved in overall stats. I hope your leadership has evaluated and has personnel and resources to help the teachers. I was expecting the superintendent to have a school's student plan for student achievement on the agenda like last year in November. I would like the school board to reinforce transparency that we're always hearing from your superintendents. I was also expecting the presentation and action plans for those of us from the community can be assured that the administration and district people are doing their jobs, which is first and foremost educating the children of Oceanside. Considering I met with Dr. Lawrence about last year's school board meeting, I hope Dr. Vitale would have led a menu presentation about the smarter balanced test results, like many other school districts in our area have done.
Speakers will be Todd Madison, Brad Tobias, and Michael Richardson.
All right, thanks. So tonight, the big deal is labor negotiations, it appears. So great to see our awesome teachers here. To recap the real numbers from actual OUSD pay records, last year median total compensation of an OUSD teacher is $128,000. Doesn't include the bonus raise last December. At that end, we're probably close to $135K right now. I mean, 135,000 crumbs, to quote Tiffany. For comparison, data shows 63% of our families qualify for free lunch. Threshold for that is $39,000 for a family of 4, 63%. Those people may not consider 135K to be crumbs. I reviewed the latest proposals in the negotiation, and believe it or not, I hope you're all sitting down, I think you're doing a good job. I think that the district makes sense in their proposal. For once, I'm on your side. Save the video. We have a fiscal cliff ahead. Giving out huge bonus raises right now would be about the dumbest financial move we could possibly make. After a decade of giving every spare dollar to adults, barely 40% of our kids are proficient in English and a miserable 29% in math, as we just heard from Michael. Spending has gone up 3 times faster than inflation. Academic performance is flat or down. Actual data shows that doesn't work. HR has no data showing teachers leaving for other districts or other jobs in private industry. That's not a problem we have. The budget shows we're running an ongoing deficit. The OTA proposal increases that by $13 million a year, not without accommodating the ultimate Me Too raises. Adding to the deficit to do something that we've already proven doesn't work to improve education would certainly improve adult compensation. It would end up being about $150,000 a year if we agreed to the OTA proposal. As I've always said, I'm very happy we pay teachers well. I would never advocate we cut anything, but maybe it's time to focus more spending on kids. Radical concept. What if the district and OTA compromised on the total cost to increase equivalent to a 6% raise? We put half that in to pay for adults, the rest in the things that actually benefit kids. That half would be $3.4 million. If we spent 80% of that on class size reduction, we'd cut classes by a couple of kids. I'd like to get a show of hands from teachers who like smaller class sizes, but they all left. Only 10% of that could increase starting teacher pay rates by $5,000 a year. How many starting teachers would like to have an extra $5,000 a year? The last 10%, we could fund $150 for each classroom for supplies every year. How many teachers would like to have more money for their classroom supplies? So, to steal from Tiffany, shouldn't kids be our first priority? Isn't that what we do here at Oceanside? Shouldn't we educate and improve that? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, board. If you don't mind, I'm going to walk up to you, just because I have visuals that I want to show you all. All right, this is a book in our libraries. It's called Genderqueer. And as you can see, it's very... All right, so here, I'll just walk around, but...
It's just so hard to see.
Yeah, I know,
Sorry.
I know, I'm not. So I'll explain it. So in this picture, there's an oral demonstration of a one man onto another man. It's a cartoon. It's not real life. So this is not porn. What is this? What is as close to porn as it gets? All right. There's other pictures of just different sexual content. Talking about just some egregious things. I mean, in this picture alone, I can see some testicles. Yes, it's a cartoon. But I'm showing you this, I'm saying this, because, let's be honest, teenagers are easily distracted. And I think it's this kind of stuff that's causing them to be distracted, which can be a contributing factor to the lower test scores, to behavior, We have a lot of hardworking teachers in this district. I respect the heck out of teachers. I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for teachers pushing me, educating me, training me, and just giving me a chance. They deserve a lot. I got family members who are teachers, but you have some students, snickering, doing like the that sounds terrible. All right, you have some students that are just being terrible, just snickering at something they're watching out of what they got in the library. I mean, I'm assuming you all are a bunch of teachers, so that would be distracting, and that would really just take away from the educational environment, and that's why we're here, to educate the students, to educate the future generations of our city, of our state, of our nation. A lot of these students are military, so they're going to go from here to North Carolina, to Missouri, to wherever they want to go. And coming from North Carolina, being a member of or product of the Missouri education system, I feel like you guys are that the policies and the content is not benefiting the students. And that's all I'm saying. We need you guys to step up. We need your policies to step up. Thank you.
Well, here we are again. You people just have no shame. First you took away the television coverage, then you limited the amount of time we can talk. And tonight you made the agenda unreadable. It just boggles my mind. We were here almost a year ago, almost to the day, and we talked about the test scores for that previous year. And they were not good. And the subject was buried in the consent calendar. I don't know why it was not the top subject, because that's what your business is. Now, this year, the test scores are buried in the closet. Nobody has seen them except those of us who dug deep and hard. But the fact is that the results are no better. After a year, last year, you put out a 140-page document of useless jargon that basically said that the Oceanside Unified School District will provide a rigorous course of study for all students to ensure that students advance academically and graduate college. First of all, I don't know if you want everybody to go to college, but you spent a year in all of your $200,000 to $300,000 salaries. Mercedes, I'm sure you spent weeks and weeks on that document writing it. It's just totally useless because it didn't work. Your results this 22-23 are just as bad. You did improve a little in math, but you went down a little. We're talking 0.54. I just don't understand how you can sit here every month in and month out. You hear us come and pour out our hearts about what we think would be good for kids. You probably wonder why an 82-year-old guy cares. Well, I care because my heart was in these schools. I went to these schools when they were excellent, when they were the best. And I'm just sad for what they've become. I wish that you would tackle some of these issues and get rid of all of the distractions that take the teacher's time away from the basics. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Bonita O'Shaughnessy. Good evening,
Dr. Vitale, board, other people sitting up there this evening. My name is Marie Alsham. I use she or hers pronouns. And I'm the district social worker and also the LGBTQ youth liaison for our district here. And I'm here tonight to talk about Transgender Awareness Week. That's what we're in the middle of right now. And I thought it was a really important time to bring this here. I'm proud to work for a district that is staying true to the California laws that we have on the books that really support and help this very vulnerable population thrive. It's an important time to consider learning more about this vibrant community of people. According to the Williams Institute of UCLA, there are about 1.6 million transgender people over the age of 13 in the US. And there's lots of ways for us to consider helping this important population to help them learn, grow, thrive, feel welcomed at their schools, feel affirmed and like they belong and that they're loved. One thing is to just learn more about the community. I'm always a resource for anybody up here, anybody in the room, but there's lots of other ways to learn. Using the pronoun and names that students ask us to use is a huge way to help them feel like they are seen and heard and welcomed in our schools. It's literally life-saving. The statistics bear that out. Offering your own pronouns, like I did when I got up here. That's a way of letting people know, hey, you're welcome here. I feel like you would belong here. Being a visible ally. So if I were to look into a classroom, how would I know as a trans student that that classroom, that teacher might be welcoming to me, that counselor's office, whatever it may be, the principal or admin office. So putting visible signs of support up are really important for our students. Interrupting anti-trans language and any harassment at all times is super important. Just a personal story, one of my own kids is trans. I also have a nephew who's trans, and I love them dearly. I wouldn't change them for anything in the world. When my kiddo came out to me, it was a really important moment between the two of us. It would have been, I can't even imagine how different it would have been if I had like a principal or a teacher or somebody call me because they found that out about my kid and told me before my kid could tell me in their own words. And so I just applaud this district. I'm proud to be part of this district. I'm proud to be part of the DEI and Student Supports Department to do this vital work for these students and all the students in our district. Thank you.
Thank you.